Fiancé, 27F, threatening to call of wedding if I, M26. Don't let her parents, M57 and F50, move in with us after the wedding. TLDR, after my grandfather's death 6 months ago, I inherited 90s of his wealth with a no-contest will, granting me not only enough money to never work again, but also a massive estate he claimed was his hunting cabin. It's big enough to fit my fiancée, my parents, and her parents comfortably. However, I said I didn't want them moving in with us. And now it's turned into a total blowout. To those who will ask, no common law doesn't apply to us. And after a heated debate, she agreed to sign a prenup with witnesses around. If I agreed to buy her a nice ring and a vacation once a year, she clearly isn't with me for the money. Obviously, this comes off as a rich people problem, but up until 5 months ago, I was still living in a 1-bedroom apartment, working at a rather large supermarket retail store, making $12 a year, and going to be paying off college debt until I was in my 60s. My fiancée is still working her nursing job, and we've been fully living together for 4 years. Some background into our relationship. We met 6 years ago. There were literally 0 issues with us dating. When it came to some sort of conflict, we sat down, explained both of our sides like adults, and generally fixed the problem. We've rarely gotten into arguments and have the same end goals in life: children, grow old together, die, be buried next to each other, and have fun whenever we can. I've always had an incredibly distant relationship with her parents. When she introduced me to them, they both stated they didn't like me to my face and thought I wasn't good enough. Her father even said, "Not in my lifetime," when I asked for his permission to marry his daughter, which I stated the only reason I was doing it was for an olive branch. My parents, on the other hand, love my fiancée. They scooped her up like she was one of us from the start. Has never said anything bad about her in public, nor have they in private. She, at least in my parents' eyes, is the metaphorical second coming of Christ. During my grandfather's decline in health, I was the first one there. I stopped working my higher-paying job to work retail to have more time to take care of him because his other children were busy. This was a very stressful time in our relationship. I had just recently left my job, was not around often, and I myself was super stressed. Recently, I've began the slow move of everything over there. While we still have to live in our apartment until the lease agreement is up, there's nothing against the rules of me moving stuff. I brought it up to my girlfriend, how taking care of my grandfather has really made me realize how important my family is, and that I wanted to know if it was okay for my parents to move into the new house with us. My dad could retire, and my mom can spend the rest of her life relaxing, not stressing over Bill's debt, because I can pay that off over time. I'm not insane enough to pay it all in one go. She expressed how that was an amazing idea and how she'd like her parents to move in as well. I laughed at the idea and asked her if she was serious, and why would I want to live in a house with people I don't like, nor want to interact with. She explained that this could be a good chance at us healing old wounds and making amends. I explained that not only do I not want to heal old wounds, if it was up to me, they wouldn't be coming to the wedding. Obviously, this was the wrong thing to say, and now she's giving the ultimatum of let them move in, or the wedding is off. While I can understand her side, I seriously do not want to interact with them in any capacity. They've tried numerous times to get her back with exes, lie about me, even spread a rumor about me being unfaithful until I pulled up real evidence of me being nowhere near where they said I was, thanks to Google location. My fiancé knows all of this and still wants to try and rebuild a relationship with them. This past week, I've been avoiding her with excuses, white lies. I've been meeting with accountants, lawyers, wedding venue people, and jewelers. I've also been spending all-nighters at my grandfather's grave drinking with him and not getting back home until 4 a.m. To me, it feels like my grandfather is still the only person I can vent my deepest secrets and frustrations to, which is why I've come to you, Reddit. I feel trapped. On one hand, I do not want to live with people I absolutely hate. And on the other hand, I do not want to lose the woman of my dreams. I want a third party's opinion on the matter, with no connection to me whatsoever, as I feel it's the best way to make a good judgment, without people close to me influencing my choices. I'm more than willing to answer questions and know how this subreddit works, because I too am a pizza-eating, pimple-popping Redditor myself. Update. This will be my only update post available for this subreddit in the 48 hours since I've posted that thing took off like a rocket ship. I'd like to start off by thanking everyone for their opinions. While a majority of you told me to leave, others offered compromises, logical alternatives, and gave me questions I didn't even think to ask myself. I'll put a tolder at the bottom, but I probably won't need it. I think this has been the longest 48 hours of my life. Reading through comments, responding to them, having meetings and talking with my fiancé have really given me clarity on what my next choices in life are going to be. 1. I've postponed the wedding. While some of you may refer to it as calling her bluff, I call it waiting and seeing. As of right now, we're really talking about how compatible we truly are, going over our goals in life again, and talking in depth about the relationship we want with our in-laws if we got married apparently a lot. If we got married, apparently a lot had changed since the last time we talked about it. Before I got money, some of you called it. 2. Yes, she genuinely thought moving her parents in would make my relationship with them better over time. I've expressed that as a result of all they've said, done to me. Any positive relationship or communication with them will only be done out of necessity. For example, if she was pregnant, in the hospital, or any life-altering complication or celebration. She did not take this well, but that was expected. But it's important I tell my truth. She believes I'll come around and try to build a relationship with her parents. But as of right now, I can't see myself doing it. 3. My parents won't be moving in, as I haven't even asked them yet. I know some of you were confused, assumed it was already happening. It was not. I asked if it was okay if they could, not telling her it was happening. Some of you suggested that maybe moving them in as newlyweds was weird, and suggested building them a small house on property. I didn't think about that, and will talk to my accountant parents about it whenever that conversation needs to be talked about. Nice idea, Reddit strangers. 4. What have I been doing? A lot of meetings about my future, finances, and setting up trusts wills. I'll be re-enrolling into school to take classes on business, finances, accounting, and economics as my accountant suggested I do. We're still working on a budget, but as of right now, my next steps are furthering my education to manage my newfound wealth and opportunity in a healthy way as to not blow it. As of right now, to be honest, I'm emotionally drained. I think the weight of my grandfather's death is finally hitting me, despite it being months later, and the only thing that kept me going was the idea of the wedding day. With that being postponed, I can really only focus on myself, my values, and my emotions. Staying up all night and drinking at a gravesite isn't healthy, and I've not only promised myself to cut back on the booze, but also not stay up drinking. I've been thinking about maybe getting into some sort of therapy grief counseling, but I'd need to make sure that is in the budget with my accountant, as that's a long-term thing. Maybe they know someone. 5. Couples counseling. To those that suggested it, that's a wonderful idea. However, I'm not sure if I can move past her strange dependent relationship with her parents. Initially, I thought I could, but with the rose-tinted goggles off, I'm starting to see a lot of red flags. I'm not too confident a therapist wedding can solve. We both have issues we need to work through, but right now I'm not sure if we'll be working through them together. I know a lot of you said to drop the relationship, but I think after 6 years, it's worth giving it a try to save it. Making a choice like that without trying to fix the problem seems silly. But I did expect a lot of those answers to come through. It's just how Reddit is. Just know that. I know my worth. I know my values, and I'm not backing down. Maybe we won't work things out, and the relationship will just end. Maybe things will work out, and we can continue. At least for now. 48 hours later, it's too soon to tell. 6. As for the prenup, we haven't signed anything yet. A lot of you were really harping on the nice ring and fancy vacations once a year thing. While the vacations compromise is indeed concerning, the ring issue is something we've been having conflict on for a while. My personal opinion before now is that rings are overpriced, silly, and serve no significant purpose in a relationship. She says that they're an important symbol of love commitment. The compromise to the prenup in regards to the ring was, I actually buy her a better ring than I already had, which sounds super predatory in those words, but it makes sense in my mind. She doesn't want a Titanic heart of the ocean-style jewelry piece, just something a bit more noticeable. I probably should have elaborated on that in my original post. But hey, we all make mistakes, which to some sounds like gold digger mentality. But I know the price range of ring she wants, and it's about the same range my dad spent on my mom's ring. It's something you'd see on a mom's ring. It's something you'd see on a middle-class woman's finger. Nothing small. Just enough, I guess. I still think they're just silly circles of metal and compressed dirt. There's not much to say. We sat down, talked for a while. I explained my side of things. She explained hers. She was upset I was postponing the wedding, but once she realized I wasn't going to fold, she agreed under the notion that it was best for our relationship to work on this before marriage. Right now, I'm taking a step back from her to clear the air and give us time to formulate what we want on our own. I've driven the 2 hours to the cabin. Thankfully, the internet people hooked that up yesterday. I've talked to my parents, not about them like moving in, but about the situation as a whole. Leaving out, I went to the internet before I went to them. While my dad can't just abandon his job, he sends his love and support. My mom is currently making the 18-hour drive, so I wouldn't be alone by myself. I've gotten attempted phone calls from the in-laws within the last 24 hours, but I've watched them ring and went back to doing my everyday tasks like lawn work, meal prep, reading, binge watching Netflix. It's strange, but right now, I feel happier alone right now than I do with Fiancé. Maybe it's some sign that it's not meant to be, or that I've finally been able to relax for the first time in years and have found comfort in solitude. Maybe I'm happy my mom is going to cook me my favorite dinner as a child to cheer me up. I think as of right now though, I have a lot of work to do, not only emotionally, but also literally. I'm thinking about doing some telework just to still have a mainstream of income part-time, as I'll probably get bored of being jobless. In about a week, I need some hobbies. TLDR, the wedding is postponed, going back to school, and probably going to be staying in the cabin until the lease is up on the 30th. Regardless of if I lose my security deposit, I'll just pay my fiancé that deposit. As of right now, she definitely won't be moving into the cabin with me. I truthfully want some distance between us until we can figure out how this relationship is going to continue.